Hi everyone, welcome to INNOVERV Unplugged. We are season 1, episode 3. Quite an emotive topic. The number of client conversations I have around, should we do CFin, should we go straight to S4, should we do a bit of both, all that confusion really, plus lean core, clean core. We'll examine that space. It's quite a complex space in that it's right at the intersection of business and technology. Joining me on that debate, as always, Edwin, Amar and Vandana Khanna. We will dissect the topic as best as we can. These guys have all been through those debates in their organizations and have come to slightly different decisions, and therefore there are no rights and wrongs here, but we can benefit from their experience. Now, let me start with you, Amar. So you made a decision to go for CFin, Central Finance. For the rest, S4HANA Central Finance. So tell me, why did you do that? Or did you do that and S4HANA as well? Just tell me a little bit about how you thought through that decision and what did you actually guide the organization to do?
Great question, Partha, and it's one of these things which makes you reflect and ponder. Before I start, I give a little bit of a context from our previous episodes. Sure. Is that one of my advice has been always that you should adopt, instead of adapt, and we should avoid legacy practices, right? Now, with that context, what you will come up with, finance normally, and I'm not sure whether this applies to you, Vandana or Edwin, is that the finance team always looks at the consolidation system as their system of report, right? That's because it goes outward looking, you submit it to SECs and our external world. So that's the one, put it there. So they don't really look at the system of transactions with that kind of criticality. I'm not saying they don't, but they set up. So if you are looking at several ECC systems which are a little bit outdated, was not the right data model, and your entire operations, entire business is built on those systems, and suddenly you make the decision of moving to S4HANA, as we talked about the overall business transformation, this is massive, and the business case will be massive, and you need to slice it out. So you need to help understand that how can you do it in a step-by-step manner, and CFin is a brilliant opportunity that you start with finance. Given finance's role to drive the organization to data-driven, you start with CFin as a stepping stone, make it a system of report, and then you slowly make a system of record, and then do the S4HANA transition. So what it does is basically it gets you a handle on your data first, and in that situation, you should go for CFin, and that it doesn't make sense because the transition is just way too much and complexity is way too high. So that's would be my one case. I've also seen situations, and personally as well, but if you have category kind of businesses, right? So if you would like to
multi-category,
if in multi-category businesses, and you would like to keep the flexibility that at some point you would like to divest, or even importantly, if at some point you would like to acquire companies, they may or may not be on the SAP or similar systems. At that time, CFin on the CFin layer on the top of these applications actually provides you a great opportunity to see as a kind of a system of report again in this transition. Now, however, if you have only a couple of instances and you are completely fully on that business, and you don't, and it's fairly recent, I wouldn't advise go for CFin. Just go for a S4 brownfield or a smart field, as we call it, and put it there. So that's been my learning.
So very interesting. Just playing it back, because I think you went through a very interesting algorithm almost. It's a very complex topic, cannot be simplified. But broadly, you are saying, look, if you wanted to go through a modular journey and start with finance, CFin is worth looking at. System of report, record, stepping stone. I think you then said if you have multiple ERPs, 10 plus, 15 plus, whatever, then again having a common consolidation layer on top, a reporting layer, or even a layer that allows GBS, I guess, to transact.
Absolutely.
Makes it
That's
worthwhile.
a good point, yes.
But I guess if you've got one ERP and you've just finished your ECC and it's fairly good, it'd be madness to do CFin, go straight to, bless you, go straight into S4HANA, right? I guess the tricky bit is when you are in between, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. I think your M&A point is quite interesting, isn't it? Because that's where CFin, I guess, gives you the flexibility.
Absolutely. Actually, that's the biggest learning which we had is two parts. One is If you want finance to really take the lead and drive the organization towards data driven, CFin provides you the best opportunity stepping stone, number one. Number two is, if you are actually acquiring companies and you want them to be operational within a short period of time, traditionally you would do a lot of ERP overhaul. Now with CFin, plug it in, okay, it's never a simple plug, as you know, but within 2-3 months you're more or less right. And it's actually a very viable business case, because CFOs I have seen really like that story. So
very helpful, very insightful. Edwin, you and I have sort of collaborated on 2 of these journeys recently, and I reflect on the fact that I've seen you take different decisions along with your co-executives in terms of CFin and S4. So just reflect on it a little bit and tell us how you helped the organizations think through those decisions.
Yeah, I think first of all, to start with, these are very, very complex topics, and my recommendation would always be to really ask some guidance and support from people like you, Partha, or INNOVERV, to really support organizations taking the right decisions. But if you look a little bit to the CFin versus full S4 implementation discussions where you and I were part in, there were basically 2 elements, I believe, which were very critical. I think first it was about the investment. So how much investment a company wants to take to get the data in order, to get at the end the processes in order to build a new core. And it's about timing. Now, we saw a case, Partha, where you and I worked on, where basically CFin was a very right decision to get started with, because there was no wider visibility at that moment on replacing the core or upgrading the core of S4, but the company wanted to make progress, wanted to get more grip and control and benefits of the data. And there the decision was taken to start a CFin program, basically the finance transformation enabled by CFin, start building the first steps of the core, the stepping stone, and once when that was completed, move on to the full S4 implementation. We also saw another example where the timings were a little bit more closer. So when central finance started, basically with the aim to get a grip on the data, to get the benefits of the data, to go to the system of record system of report system record, quite quickly already the full S4 discussion came up. There a decision was taken to integrate basically the central finance into the S4 program. So for me, it's really an investment discussion, and it's a timing discussion. But let yourself be informed very, very well, because it's very complex. And we also see that, and Vandana, you're also part of that, in the peer group, where we come together with more than 30 global, almost the most admired global brands and people talking about this topic. And this is very complex, and everyone has a different view, takes a different decision. So let yourself inform very well.
No, fascinating. I mean, just sort of lining up what you said, Amar, and what Edwin said. Clearly, if finance is ready to take that step, and you're moving from multiple ERPs, 10 plus to 1, I mean, actually it was in your case, in your parent organization as well, Vandana, and you don't have a full ERP replacement in the next 3 to 4 years, I guess it's an obvious choice. And we've seen a lot of that, haven't we? I guess the other extreme is, if you've recently finished, you've got 3 or 4 ECCs, and one of them actually is a reference system you're happy with. Then, as Amar said, it's a different business case. It's not one size fits all. Now, the other topic that we all hear a lot about is this lean core.